Hey everyone, welcome back to the Air Raid and another morning walk and talk. Although for me it is 5:30 in the evening. For you, it's going to probably be sometime mid-afternoon by the time this gets posted. But I'm too lazy to rebrand things, so we're just going to go with it. We're still walking and talking. And what I want to bring up on this little walk and talk, and it's a short one. I'm on my way to practice tonight, so did this on purpose, is something that I was going to write about. In fact, I started writing it as soon as I finished the piece that's up there right now about where do we go now as a program if we move on from Luke Fickell. You can find that on Substack if you feel like reading. Started writing this, and I thought, I think that's too much writing for one day. I think it'd be easier to just kind of go stream of consciousness on this and give some opinion on it. And that is, by now, most of you have already seen, or at least seen clips from, the most recent Barry Alvarez show, where he essentially scolds the fan base for booing the team, for chanting Fire Fickell at the game, for their general overall negative attitude they had at Camp Randall on Sunday, saying, we are above this. This is not who we are as a program. And what I want to talk about with it, though, is the fans' reaction to Barry's comments. Y'all are mad. And that gives me pause, because that leads me to believe there's two reasons why everybody is upset with Barry Alvarez now. The Don, the face of Wisconsin football, the god of Wisconsin football. And now we're all mad at him. One, deep-seated childhood issues. We don't like to be scolded. You can't tell me what to do. You know, screw you, I'm going home. 10-year-old attitude. And I get it. People don't like to be scolded, especially when they're having an emotional response. And the rational Badger fans out there who were a part of the booing, it's emotion. Saturday was the culmination of a shitstorm that has been brewing for 2+ years. I get it. And when somebody that you look up to calls you out on it, you feel bad. You're upset. You're angry about it. I get that. So that's part one. The second thing, why I really think people are mad, is they thought Barry was going to come out and publicly agree with them. Because Barry's a Wisconsin guy. Luke Fickell is not a Wisconsin guy. The coaching staff isn't Wisconsin guys. They are doing everything against Wisconsin tradition here in the Luke Fickell era. So of course, the godfather of Wisconsin football should come out and denounce everything that's happening and call for Luke Fickell's head on a stake, figuratively, in terms of college football, and proclaim it's time to bring a Wisconsin guy back to Wisconsin and get the program back on track. And he didn't. And you're mad about it because everyone thinks that Wisconsin people agree that that's the course of action that needs to be taken. Now, there's two things we can add to that. One, and Barry has kind of said it, he meant every word he said. He shouldn't have said it the way he did. And it's kind of getting taken out of proportion. That's definitely one of it. Okay? Barry was speaking with emotion too. And, you know, Barry's usually a pretty level-headed guy, at least in public. So to see him kind of get angry, that's new for us. But he is also, and he knows this, he will always be a figurehead for the university. More importantly, Chris McIntosh is his hand-picked successor. Barry picked him. And it doesn't get much more Wisconsin than that. That you pick your successor when you leave voluntarily. And he wants to show support for Chris McIntosh by showing support for Luke Fickell. For all this time, Wisconsin fans have always had this superiority complex about the program. And what I mean by that is, well, we can't get the players that Michigan and Ohio State can get because our academic standards are too high. We're too proud of a university to let those type of players in our system. And when it's come time for NIL and the transfer portal and recruiting, everything's like Madison is the selling point. Camp Randall is the selling point. The jump around, the student section, that's the selling point. That's what we have to offer, and you should be lucky to come to the University of Wisconsin because it's such a special place. And it is, for those of you who see it that way. But we have to remember, college football has always been a business. And these football players are making business decisions. Now, you have the guys, the 2 stars from Podunk, Wisconsin, who use the opportunity to go to the University of Wisconsin to get an education because they know they're going to be becoming pro in something other than football. And then you get the guys who come in as highly sought after recruits. Madison is a stepping stone on a path to something bigger. And they could give 2 shits about how pretty the campus is and how loud Camp Randall is. They want to have an opportunity to go to the next level. Wisconsin can offer them that path. So we have got to stop having this superiority complex about the athletic program and that the football program in general. And that leads to the idea, and I talked a little bit about it in the piece that is up on Substack, is a Wisconsin guy is not going to come in and fix the problem. Barry knows this. And Barry knows that Luke Fickell failing is as much a black eye on the university and on the football program as it is on Luke Fickell. And if he just comes out here and supports a regime change in the middle of the season, by doing that, he's also saying that his hand-picked successor has to go too. That means there's something rotten in the state of Wisconsin, and it's not just Luke Fickell. Do I think Luke Fickell is on his way out? Probably. If you look purely on the football, I take away the emotion, take away everything there. The product on the field is not good enough. And he has as much to do with it as anything else. I've stated, that I think roster construction is showing its head and showing that maybe he shouldn't have been too nice when he came in, and maybe he should have just cleaned house instead of wasting his time trying to convert people to his way of thinking, and just said, this is my way or the highway, and if you can't handle it, get out. Because they wasted time and they wasted effort on trying to build up players who weren't going to cut it. Offensive line has been a big issue with that, or an important thing to point out with that. We lost players to the transfer portal, And what we needed to do is replace them with better players. Some of them we didn't even replace at all. Make sure maybe the numbers are basically the same. We got rid of 4. We brought 4 in. A couple of those guys were depth pieces at best and walk-ons at worst. So that's an issue. And he's going to have to address it. Now, whoever is doling out the money between now and then has got to know that too. Because going into next year, it's going to cost money. Been saying it the whole time. Bring in a new coach or give Fickle one more year. You got to give him the ammunition to do it, or he might just walk. As much as you people would be happy to do it. Of course, he's not going to do that because he'd lose out on his buyout. But that's where we are. So, to bring it back to Barry Alvarez. Before you get mad at the Don for pointing out the obvious, you have to admit we're part of the problem. The fan base is part of the problem. The alumni is part of the problem. They aren't the problem. Okay? Barry, I think if he could word it better, he would make sure to say that the students, the fans, the alumni are not the problem. They are part of the problem. And it's part of that culture and part of that atmosphere that we talk so much about. That right now, the fan base is projecting the idea that to be at Wisconsin, you have to be a Wisconsin guy, and everyone else is an outsider. And we're not going to support outsiders. Why would anyone want to come in from the outside? And eventually, you're going to end up promoting people just because they're Wisconsin people and not because they're actually good at what they do. And we could have a Deshaun Foster situation here. So, until we as fans can admit that Barry was right in the message that he was trying to get across, then what's the point? Because he's heard this before. He heard this. Everything that we're hearing about Luke Fickell, maybe not as loudly and maybe not as publicly, but he's heard it about Brett Bielema and Gary Anderson and coordinators and position coaches and everything in between that weren't Wisconsin people, going all the way back to when he was the head coach. And we as fans would say that the only reason why they won is because they had Wisconsin people, and the reasons why they lost is because they weren't Wisconsin people. Everything that Brett Bielema did good at Wisconsin was because of Barry Alvarez. And everything that Gary Anderson did good at Wisconsin was because of Barry Alvarez. And everything that Paul Chryst did good at Wisconsin was because he was a Wisconsin guy. And everything he did wrong was because of Gary Anderson. At the beginning, of course. So, in conclusion, Barry's right. Sometimes the truth hurts. And we can be mad about it, or we can move on. Don't need to get better. Don't need to. You could still have your opinion. You could still think everything that he said we're doing wrong is right, and that's fine. But you got to move on because it's not making anything any better. Anyways, that's it for now. This week, let's talk about the rest of the week with the dairy raid. I haven't been able to get the all-22 truck going past. Okay, haven't been able to get the all-22, so that will not be up right now. So I'll be doing breakdowns of the broadcast angle. Those will go up tomorrow on Substack. Go up on YouTube on Friday, and then this video will replace the walk and talk that would normally come at the end of the week. So until then, thank you as always for watching. Thank you for reading on Substack, everything in between. I still love you. Even if Barry's mad at you, I still love y'all. All right, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.